Hey guys, welcome back to Vids Made Simple. In this video, we're gonna see about thyroid gland, its anatomy and embryology. Now let's begin. The thyroid gland is basically an endocrine gland. It is situated in the neck and it's located anterior to the trachea. It weighs about 25 grams. The thyroid gland is endocrine gland because they don't have any ducts. The thyroid gland secretes the thyroid hormones and they release them directly into the bloodstream. Thyroid gland weighs more in females compared to male, and the weight of the thyroid gland increases, especially during the pregnancy, which is physiological. The thyroid gland secretes hormones such as T3, which is triiodothyronine, T4, which is thyroxine or tetraiodothyronine, RT3, which is reverse T3, and calcitonin. The most active thyroid hormone is T3. But it's very important to note that the thyroid secretes more amount of T4 compared to T3. But the active form is T3. Okay? So in the peripheral target tissues, what happens is there will be hormones, there will be enzymes to convert these T4 into T3 and make them active. Okay, this is how most of the T3 is produced in the periphery of the body. Now in this picture, you can see the basic relations of the thyroid gland. You can see that the thyroid gland is situated anterior to the trachea, and you can see some part of the lobes of the thyroid gland extending above, and they lie somewhat anterolateral to the thyroid cartilage. Okay, so the thyroid gland has basically got a right and left lobes, isthmus, and a pyramidal lobe. So in this picture, you can see the right and left lobes of the thyroid gland. It's basically a butterfly shaped gland. You can see a narrow part which connects the right and left lobes, which is isthmus. Isthmus generally means a constriction. Okay, in any organ of the body, isthmus generally means constriction. You can see a small extension above the isthmus, which is the pyramidal lobe. And the thyroid gland basically extends from the C5 to T1 vertebrae. C5 is the fifth cervical vertebrae, T1 is the first thoracic vertebrae. Now let's see the microscopic features of the thyroid gland. This picture shows the normal microscopic appearance of a normal thyroid gland. This basically includes follicles, which are filled with colloid, and parafollicular cells, which are also known as C cells. The round things which you see here, which are pink in color, are basically the follicles, and the pink substance which is present inside the round follicles is the colloid. The follicles are basically the secreting part of the thyroid gland. They secrete the thyroid hormones and they store them in the colloid, and they release them in the blood when required. The parafollicular cells or the C cells are the small cells which are present between the follicles. They basically secrete calcitonin. The thyroid gland is situated anterior to trachea and a part of thyroid cartilage, and the thyroid gland is situated posterior to two main muscles, sternothyroid and sternohyoid. Okay, now basically there are two layers of capsule which surrounds the thyroid gland. The first one is the fibrous capsule, which is the deep layer which surrounds the thyroid gland. The next one is the pretracheal layer of the deep cervical fascia, which forms the superficial part of the capsule. Superficial capsule surrounds the thyroid gland. These basically keep the thyroid gland intact in its position. They're also related to the carotid sheath, which basically includes the carotid vessels, the vagus nerve. And there are some nerves which are located near the thyroid gland, which includes the external laryngeal nerve, the recurrent laryngeal nerve. These nerves are basically located near the thyroid gland, and they supply the vocal cords and related structures, and they're more prone to be damaged during any thyroid surgeries. So much care has to be taken, much care has to be given to not to damage these nerves while doing a thyroid surgery, as they can damage the vocal cords, and speech may be affected if these nerves get damaged. Now let's see about the arterial supply of the thyroid gland. There's an artery known as the superior thyroid artery, and the other artery is the inferior thyroid artery. The superior thyroid artery basically supplies the anterior superior part of the thyroid gland. The inferior thyroid artery basically supplies the posterior inferior part of the thyroid gland. In about 10% of cases, there is one more artery known as thyroid artery. Now this artery can be damaged in neck surgeries. This basically is present in the midline of those in those 10% of individuals. So in neck surgeries, care has to be given not to damage these arteries because they are potential bleeding arteries. They can cause a lot of bleeding if damaged. And we have to note that they are present only in 10% of the population. And this picture shows the arterial supply of the thyroid gland. You can see the superior thyroid artery, and below there used to be a inferior thyroid artery which supplies the inferior part of the thyroid gland. And there is extensive anastomosis between various arteries of the thyroid gland, and there is also well developed collateral circulation between various arteries. The benefit of this extensive anastomosis and collateral circulation is that if one artery is compromised, the blood supply from the other artery increases and it takes over the supply of the gland. Now let's see about the venous drainage of the thyroid gland. All the veins which drains the thyroid unites to form thyroid venous plexuses and drains the thyroid gland. It is formed by the union of superior thyroid vein, middle thyroid vein, and inferior thyroid vein. The thyroid venous plexus is situated in the anterior surface of the thyroid gland. Now let's see about the nerve supply of the thyroid gland. The nerve supplying the thyroid gland basically arises from the sympathetic ganglia, which includes the superior cervical ganglia, the middle cervical ganglia, and inferior cervical ganglia. The thyroid gland basically gets nerve supply from these three ganglia. The sympathetic ganglia provides vasomotor fibers to the thyroid gland. So these basically cause vasoconstriction of the blood vessels supplying the thyroid gland. They do not involve in regulating the hormone production of the thyroid gland. Basically, the hormone production of the thyroid gland is by chemical messaging rather than neuro messaging. Hope you get it. Now let's see the interesting part, which is the embryology or development of the butterfly-shaped organ, the thyroid gland. You see that the thyroid gland is somewhat similar to the appearance of a butterfly. So the thyroid gland basically develops from something known as foramen cecum, It's present near the first pharyngeal arch, first pharyngeal pouch. So it is located below the tubercle impar in the first pharyngeal pouch. It is basically formed by epithelial proliferation, which occurs in the floor of the pharynx at foramen cecum. So the thyroid gland starts to form and it descends downwards in front of the pharynx to its normal location in the neck. So there's something known as thyroglossal duct, which basically connects the thyroid gland to the tongue. This is basically an embryologic structure, so it disappears after the birth of the fetus. So the thyroid gland attains its final position at about 7th week of intrauterine life, and it starts to function properly, that is secretion of the hormones, at the end of 3rd month of intrauterine life. And as told earlier, the thyroid gland also has the C cells or parafollicular cells, right? The C cells or parafollicular cells are basically produced from the something known as ultimobranchial body. That's it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel Vids Made Simple and share this video to your friends, and please tell them to subscribe to our channel. Please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram and Google Plus by clicking on the links given in the description below. Support us by donating on Patreon.